Welcome to another episode of Fuck Your Job. I'm Ron Worley.
And I'm Josh Fullenweider.
Fuck your job.
Hey guys, Ron Worley and
Josh Fullenweider here, and we're going to bring you an episode today, and we're talking about
make better employees.
Make better employees, not just hire better employees.
We can do it all, really.
We can do it all. Okay.
Yeah, because so the idea of the show came, I was standing in the shower thinking, which is also Jane's Addiction song, circa 1990.
I was like 6.
Well, I was not. So it dawned on me that through all of my businesses, everybody moves away from me and does bigger and better things. Okay. And that can't just be a phenomenon. That's something we're doing, something we've done. You know, we've got doctors and we've got it all. I mean,
right.
Our businesses were bought out by an employee that came back and bought them. So he was successful after he left us and then came back and bought one. Yeah, he had such a good time he wanted to buy one.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, like, just for the people out there, I guess there's two paths anybody can take. The natural path is you're always wanting to excel and do better and grow. And then there's a lot of people that find the job that they like, and they might move around to other jobs, but it's essentially doing the same job.
Right. Same career.
Yeah. They might be say an office person here, they move over here, they get paid more, but they're still an office person, they're not advancing. Right. You're saying these people are the ones that you're helping to coach or guide or whatever, and they're going from office, so receptionist to office manager to maybe getting an education and becoming a nurse or a doctor or something else.
They're bettering their lives through different career paths after they left us. Okay. Because we're just a retail store in that. I'm specifically talking about the Max Muscle stores we have. Right. I mean, who the hell is going to stay in retail? But there were some key things we did that made them work better for us, cheaply. But those are also the same reasons they were able to leave us and be successful. The same reasons they were successful with us is the same reasons they were successful afterwards. Most of them were already headed towards a career path, but I think what happened is they come in and we started coaching them. You know, a lot of our employees asked they found drive because we shared our business with them, the good stuff. You know, we told them how to do business, So I think I broke it down into 3 groups: communication, motivation, and education. Okay. And as long as you can teach an employee those 3 things and keep them ongoing, they're always going to grow and they're going to work for you and be the best they can be as an employee.
So you're teaching them those three things: motivation and education. I mean, communication is essential in any job, and you want that. Right. But motivation and education, I feel, are definitely key to. Somebody's got to be motivated to improve their lives. So those two, I feel, tie in together a lot. Now, backing up here, you mentioned your employee that went away, came back and bought it from you. Right. What kind of did his career path, like starting from before you hired him, all the way through after you hired him, and then to where he's at today, even how'd that kind of play out?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to have Tony on. Maybe we should have Tony on here too. He started out with asking a lot of questions about how to do his own brand. Okay. That he wanted to sell in our store. All right. Well, it was really a conflict, but I kept helping him. In fact, Aaron warned me not to, like, dude, you can't. He's competition if we do that, but that was not the point. The point, first of all, the point is if you can start your own brand from scratch, dude, power to you. It's tough. I mean, that's a tough gig. So I just kept coaching him along the ways of the ins and outs of what happens with your own brand. We had done it before and had brands in our store that were ours. And
like the ball sack thing?
Yeah. What was it called? Ball bag.
Ball bag. Yeah. That's what it was.
No, like pre-workout and things like that. There's a higher margin into it, and I explained to him how to do it. We, do the research on the company, the manufacturers you're going to use. Here's the amount of dollars you want to use. Blah blah blah. I think with him specifically, he kind of got bored. You max out in any certain job, and with retail, you max out pretty quick.
Yeah.
We had 4 stores. He became a regional manager, I believe, for momentarily, but then you're traveling around to different stores, and that kind of sucked. But the whole time, he was starting on the back end his own nutrition stuff.
Okay.
And I just kept coaching and pushing, and every time he asked, we'd talk, and I think that's true with all the employees. That's part of the communication and the education, because I'm teaching them what I know so that I don't have to do the work, number one. I don't like to, I like to teach them how to do it and let the employee do it. Even if they fumble around trying to do it, they can ask questions, but get it done.
Yeah.
And Tony, in Tony's case, he was really good about that. He never really asked a ton of questions, and actually he was full of good ideas. Tony is very creative, and he came to our company very creative. So it was our job to kind of blow that up.
Okay.
And he actually made our company better on many levels by just giving him the power to do that.
Okay.
To be creative.
Yeah.
A lot of things they still run up there in Max Muscle are from him. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But then he moved on to being a real estate agent for Richmond Homes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then came back to buy a store, but in the meantime, he had started his own nutrition company, and it's called Atlas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he bought it and has rebranded it. Atlas, right.
Right.
Okay.
And now they just bought another gym, and so he's really.
Yeah, I heard that too. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's really cool to see these young guys do that stuff. So between him and Thad, and oh God, what's his name? Jackson McHugh. Jackson's a doctor.
Okay.
Full-fledged doctor. And then we had one more, and I'm sorry, I'm going to forget his name, but I loved him too. But he's a therapist. What do you call the physical therapist?
Okay.
Which is just as hard as getting your doctorate.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these guys we picked it. Here's the common theme, Josh. We picked these people. Because we were using our values to hire these people. So we kept getting the same type of person that was eager, creative, wanting family oriented. They wanted more from life. They just needed a job. And a lot of them were coming out of college. A lot of them were headed towards great things already. We just didn't hinder that, and we grew that. We just.
I find it interesting that your 4 favorites all went on to do something in the physical, like to do with the body.
Yeah.
After Max Muscle.
Right.
Because I know Thad's not doing it now, but he went to another Max Muscle for a while, right?
Yeah.
And when he
He's
moved.
basically opened one.
Yeah. So.
And that was a direct correlation to how successful our business was being. We were number 1 in the country, and we got poached. The guy called and said, "I'm opening a new store. You want to run it?" But we didn't stop him. Like, we were, yes, go, man. That's your dream. Do it. And now Thad's more like he was a business kid. Like, it's all about the money. Money motivated him.
Okay.
And I don't even know if it was the money or the success.
Yeah.
That's why he's a VP, and the title means a lot to him, in my opinion. It may not be true. I don't know Thad. But honestly, like, whatever motivates people, that's part of the motivation. It's our job at work to motivate them and keep them interested in new things. And a lot of times that's not our company, but we try to, to motivate somebody. It's pretty difficult when you come to work and do the same thing over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? That's what we have to find out.
So what I'm hearing from you is that there's a spectrum, and you've kind of illustrated this already, that when you get an employee, there's the tell them what to do. That's like step 1, go do this, go clean the stock room, go stock the shelves, that sort of thing. So there's tell, then there's delegate. You're not, you're just running the store today. Go out there, I've shown you how to do it. So you go from tell to delegate, and then you go to empower. Okay, Tony, what ideas do you have? Okay, implement your ideas at the store. And once you move somebody through that spectrum and they feel they are empowered, you also don't want to hold them back. And that's kind of when they've moved on.
Right.
So
we had a kid, and it's the therapist, and I can't remember his name. It's killing me. I loved him. So he kept coming to me with all these ideas, and they're just not, you can't do them all.
Right.
So to keep him motivated and keep him staying with us, I would just be like, okay, well, you want to do this with the rest of your life? Like, I gave him the football team.
Okay.
Here's that account.
Yeah.
Have that, And so he had to deal with the high school football team and implement his ideas that he was giving me all on his own. I'm out now. You just do whatever you want to do, but this is your baby.
Okay.
And he quickly saw that it's not just an idea, it's you have to be able to execute it as well. So there was some training involved there, but that was his growth. He was full of ideas, but I was over here trying to make them work, and that's, there's an extra step. And I think that's what I mean by motivating and their growth. It's individual, but they all have the same base. They all have the same like-mindedness as you. So
all right, so you talked kind of about your 4 that really took to your system and you helped empower and everything. What about the ones that didn't take to the system? Like, I know on a previous episode we talked about how before you were talking about values with people, you were just hiring people, and then there would be some failure and they'd be out of the company, either quitting or being fired.
Yep.
What about those people that are kind of in between, where you could talk to them about values, but they didn't quite get it?
Yeah, so I can tell you about one specific, because I'll never forget him. But he was able to speak about values. They weren't in him.
Okay.
He wasn't being the values. He was just talking about them.
Okay.
So he's a hell of a salesman. He was able to manipulate me, basically, because everybody around me said, get rid of him, he's got no character.
Okay.
But I kept thinking, I can fix him, I can coach him. I was getting complaint after complaint after complaint after complaint, and he was with us for 2 years. But there was no growth the entire time he was there. I even sat down and told him flat out one time, these are your flaws. You're pissing people off in my store. I'm getting complaints. There's something wrong with you. And I said it just like that. There's something wrong with you, and you need to fix it. And he just quit instead. Like, after 2 years, he gave me 2 weeks notice. So, but you know what? In my opinion, you got to get rid of those people fast. And I learned that lesson from him.
Okay. So, I don't know. Have you heard from him since then? Is he still doing sales stuff? Or?
Yeah. Still it's basically job bouncing now. Like, I get every once in a while. He uses me as a reference.
Okay, you're on his list of. Okay.
Which I'm happy to give.
Yeah.
I just am honest with people about he didn't fit in with our systems.
Yeah. But he was a good salesman.
Yeah. Boy, he had high sales. I could leave him alone in the store, and he knew how to run, and he did. I mean, that's why I liked him so much, because he lessened my day-to-day work, because he could just do it.
Yeah.
And he worked cheap because he couldn't go anywhere else, because he's got that name, and everybody knew better to hire him. So.
Now, do you think in a business that you need some people like that are just worker bees?
So yes, I tried to fit. That's how we came up with the model of having a general. So we had 4 stores, having a regional manager.
Okay.
And I made him travel.
Okay.
And he would just run a store per day, make sure it was up to par, and move on. He was like my quality control guy. And you need an asshole. You do for that.
All right.
And he allowed me not to be such an asshole. So there was things that I liked about him, but overall, like, those values that just really mattered, character and trust, that's a big one. I couldn't, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So really, yes, if we could have afforded to have him never talk to a customer, he was perfect. Perfect. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess there's a place for every personality.
Yeah.
If you're trying to develop a company culture where it's growth oriented and you're trying to constantly improve, you need the people with the mindset for it.
Yep.
But I've also been in companies where, like, this job over here, like when I was in banking, it's a perfect example. A lot of the commercial lenders were more motivated people. They had done well in their career, and they were motivated salesmen. They wanted to go out, and whether they wanted to advance in their career anymore or not, they wanted to go out, they wanted to help people, they wanted to get accounts, they were motivated. Then you had the people that wanted to be tellers, and there's nothing wrong with being a teller. I loved being a teller, but it was the most boring job in my life because we just sat there for hours on end, and there'd be a rush, and at the end of 9 hours you go home.
Right.
And that's it.
Day.
There was nothing else to it. Like, for me, I took it and used it to leverage into eventually getting into commercial lending. But a lot of people, they want that job, and which is great.
Yeah.
And they're great at it. They want to just put their head down and work.
Right. So we were talking off screen. I'm so curious to see when you open your business up how you're going to motivate, educate.
Oh, God. I'm so nervous about it.
A doctor. A nurse.
Yeah. I'm so nervous about it because these are people who are probably at the peak of their career, and a lot of the nurses that we're kind of, I guess, going to be targeting are ones that have gone through hospitals or family medicine offices already and decided that wasn't the scene they wanted to be in.
Right.
Because I can't train somebody how to, draw blood or give shots or anything like that. They need to come to me with that experience already. So it's going to be interesting. It's people who have already done most of or a good chunk of their career and decided that wasn't for them, and they're looking for something else. Now the doctor is interesting because, and the one that we're really wanting to hire is that she's got a very great career already, and she works with, I believe, homeless right now. And she said it's just draining. She loves doing it. She feels very fulfilled by doing it. But it's draining on her.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a segment of the population that doesn't wash very well, and you see all this poverty among them and all the issues that go along with it, drug use, that sort of thing. And she hurts at the end of the day. So
this will help pick her spirits.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a fun job. This is the 2 day a month, come check us out and enjoy it, and laid back, relaxed type of thing.
So that might be an opportunity for you guys to offer her, like, when you do parties and events and stuff, just invite her to all of it, to be a part of your family and pick her up.
So I haven't told you this, but we signed our lease on Friday.
Yes.
So 3 days ago
Sweet.
Yeah. So
with Gino.
All
right.
Yeah. So it's coming together. It's going to be here sooner rather than later.
It's badass.
Yeah. But sorry, total sidetrack from hiring and motivating people. But for me personally, my experience with hiring and motivating and everything like that, because I've worked in a bank, which I feel was definitely a more professional environment. You get a different type of people. Then I also was the marketing manager for Liberty Tax. The people out there waving on the street corner. You know what type of people apply for that job?
Whoa.
The halfway house people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who's willing to go
because they're waving the signs. Yeah.
Who's willing to go stand in a like a Statue of Liberty costume in the freezing cold in January and wave at people?
Yep.
People that don't have a lot of other options.
Right.
And I thought it was a decent job. It was boring, but if you've got music or a podcast or something, you can go out there and spend all day out there.
Yeah.
No big deal. But
that got started by a homeless guy named Leon.
Yeah.
He started the sign waving thing. Maybe not in America, but I swear to God, in America. Like,
all the waving?
Yeah, because remember he was out there doing it all badass, and everybody was honking, and he had people into it.
Oh, and he was dancing all the time. It was
all
great.
day.
Everybody in Greeley, they probably didn't know his name, but there was the dancing sign guy.
Yeah.
And at one point, he even had a Facebook fan page. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I know this is because he was doing some other waving job outside of my wife's work. And he came in and asked one of her to pull up his fan page on Facebook because he didn't have, he's homeless. I was homeless. He wanted to look it up and everything and see what was going on. But yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we hired him to come to Max Muscle and throw the sign around, but I had never seen anybody do that before him. And then he did it and did it crazy and awesome. Yeah. And you always saw somebody out there just standing there with the sign, but he was out there throwing it around, moving it around. Oh yeah. And of course he's passed away since then. But he was a young man too.
Yeah, he was probably in his 40s. Yeah. He wasn't old by any means.
He looked older than he was though.
Yeah.
He was
he lived on the streets and the drugs. And you know what? That's one guy, he was a very high functioning abuser of drugs and alcohol.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He could come in and high as a kite and perform his job without an issue.
All he had to do was dance. He could be on Molly.
He was probably better when he was high. But I felt bad for that guy.
But you know what? When we talked to him, he already had out his business plan. He was trying to hire other homeless people to work for him. Yeah. And then he would be the boss going around getting all these jobs.
And he did for a while.
Did he get it done? Yeah.
He did for a while. His problem was he and his wife, I don't know if it was real wife, would get into it now and again, and he would end up in jail.
Yep.
And I don't know if it was drug use or if there was domestic issues or what, but what I noticed is he came back to work for me one time, and his wife was in jail, and he did great. She got out of jail, and he just fell off the deep end. I think they just fed into each other's bad habits.
Yeah.
So
probably true.
It is what it is. I really liked the guy. But he's one of those ones who was a great worker bee. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he got his business. He started his business. A few of my other sign waivers actually worked for him at times. But he liked drugs and alcohol too much. So he would get that pay. He would hire out a job for $12 an hour and turn around and hire somebody for $8 or $9 an hour, which was good pay when minimum wage was $6 an hour.
Right.
So he'd turn around and hire them out. So he's making a $3 profit margin. Yep. Great. Except he would get the big check and then not write the smaller check. So he'd spend it on booze and
oh gosh.
Yeah,
I didn't know all that part.
But he had a great business plan.
Yeah.
And he was well known enough, and he could teach other people how to do the signs and everything.
Yeah. And it,
But he taught me how to throw the signs so I probably still can twirl signs.
Sounds like we need to get in. Is it old school now? Sign twirling? Is that thing of the past because of Corona probably?
I wouldn't think so, because you're out there working by yourself, alone, away from
Can you imagine? That would be an easy company to just...
Yeah.
Freebie for all you guys.
Yeah, set up a sign waving company. So the biggest issue was reliable employees.
Right.
Especially year round. And the work's unreliable, Liberty Tax. We needed... God, I hired 20 or 30 sign waivers.
Wow.
In January. And my first one, I'm like, I don't need this many. So my first year I hired, say, 15, and I filled all my slots, and I had like a few extra people to plug in here and there. And then it's cold, and they didn't want to work.
Right.
Or they weren't very motivated, or they went back to jail, or whatever it was. And so then I hired, like 2 weeks later, I'm hiring another 15 people. So the next year I hired, say, 25 people.
Smart.
And some people were like, well, I'm not getting enough hours. I'm like, you're not working the hours I'm scheduling you for. You're telling me it's too cold. You know it's an outside job in January in Colorado.
Yeah, motivate them, Josh.
So I had like 4 people, 2 for each of the 2 stores I managed, and that were consistent.
Yeah.
And those were the ones that I gave them whatever hours they wanted to work. If they wanted to work 40 hours a week, I'd give it to them.
Yeah.
On average, they worked about 25 hours a week, I think, and they worked the entire 4 months of the season.
Wow.
You want to work it? Great. And then everybody else was just filler, and they'd be like, I want hours. I'm like, prove it.
Right.
And so going from the mindset of people that would rather be drunk than anything else and are just there to get a paycheck so they can get their next case of beer, to a doctor that's highly motivated.
Big difference.
Yeah. And I probably can relate to the doctor better.
Well, of course.
But, I don't know. I'm a little jaded on the hiring process from hiring all those
all the sign throwers. Yeah. No, I get it. And I actually can relate with the sign throwers and probably feel less adequate towards a doctor, but the concept is the same. Motivating this person is different than motivating this person, but you still got to motivate them to keep them happy and keep them. And for us, it was always get them better because they're better for us, but they're going to find another job that's better than us. Because we're in retail. Same thing with your sign thrower, hopefully. But for your doctor, your nurses, you want them to stay around forever. That's the end of the road for them, right? So the motivation's a lot different.
Right.
You got to keep it.
And when I was managing the Liberty Tax stores, I don't think I understood motivation as well back then.
Right. Yep.
I was at the beginning of my career, really, and it was just, you want money, come work for me. I just assumed that everybody was like me and wanted to earn money to go do things.
Right.
And, money was a means to an end, so why wouldn't I work?
That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
That's not how it is anymore. Kids that are in the workforce, people in the workforce want to have fun while they're at work.
Yeah. You know what if managing the sign waivers now at Liberty Tax, what I would do if I went back to it would be to figure out how much a case of beer costs, pay them weekly on Friday, and be like, all right, here's your paycheck on Friday. You need to work 2 shifts to buy 2 cases of beer to get you through the weekend.
That's smart.
And then I would schedule them. Here's your 2 shifts. Here's your pay. Go home, party on the weekend. We'll see you on Monday so you can earn next week's case of beer.
Perfect. I like it.
I mean, that's kind of like an asshole view of the world, but at the same time, like, that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
And a lot of them, the ones that weren't in the halfway house were on Social Security and couldn't earn too much or didn't want to earn too much.
Right.
Because they didn't want to lose their Social Security. I'm like, you're out there waving a sign and, like, to me, that says they're not that disabled. They're
not that disabled, right? Well, that's a whole nother show or problem that we probably can't talk about on this show. But I think it's awfully interesting that the Leons of the world, even a sign throwing deal can turn into a business. Yeah. And he was actually servicing a need that he saw himself. So dude was very creative and smart and just had the drugs issue.
If he had been able to kick the drugs, he would have been a very successful person because he had the personality and he had the drive.
Yep. And that goes to show you that honestly you can't fix everybody because we all have our demons. It's crazy. So, all right. Was that a show?
I think we're good. We can talk it to death, but
all right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Join us on Facebook at The Jobless Legion or subscribe to our YouTube channel and like, comment, and share
so that we can get the message out to aspiring entrepreneurs just like you.
Thank you.